How did you become acquainted with Ben Ripley, and what hooked you on his script?
Well, I was actually very fortunate. I met Jake Gyllenhaal first, and he was already attached to the project. The way I became attached is I'd gone to see Jake to try and convince him to come and do a different movie with me, and he said, "I'd love to work with you, but I have this project source code I'm attached to. I think you should read it. I think it would be good for the two of us." So I read it, and that's how it all started for me.
So, did you have much input on the script when you went towards production?
I think there was a certain aspect of the script that I thought we could tweak. It took itself very seriously, the draft that I read, and my reaction to it was, I think we could get so much more out of this film if we were to lighten the tone a little bit and sort of inject some humor where we can. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of my big move on the script, and fortunately, Jake was completely on my side on that, and we were able to convince the producers, and that sort of steered it to where the film is now.
It's funny you should say that about the humor value, because I found some parallels between this film and Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you guys maybe use that for some kind of a reference source material.
The idea of cycling an event multiple times to try and get it right, that's definitely a similarity.
So Vera Farmiga is such an appealing presence, and if I was totally disoriented, I couldn't think of a person better than her to lead me back to reality. I guess that was a pretty easy casting choice.
Very easy. In fact, all of our sort of main performers were decisions that were very easy for everyone to agree on. We obviously have Vera Farmiga, who's an amazing actress. She is also a very nuanced actress and is able to communicate a lot and have the audience empathize with her when she's most of the time in quite a small sort of enclosed, on a screen a lot of the time, or in an enclosed environment. Then we had Jeffrey Wright, who's a fantastic actor, who I'd met a very long time ago on a film called Basquiat, and he's a tremendous actor, and it was a real wonderful opportunity for me to get to work with him. And then Michelle Monaghan, who I was a huge fan of after having seen her in Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and I just think she's the most delightful, cute, lovely girl, and she's an amazing actress in her own right, and the chemistry between her and Jake, I think, really worked.
So I took notes while I was watching the film, as I always do, and the first one I wrote down, halfway into it was, where the hell is he? So there's this great mystery about where Jake Gyllenhaal's character is.
Yeah.
And how did you approach, making that not telegraphed, but sort of leading folks in the right direction? That must have been a very difficult process.
It was, and I have to give the majority of the credit there to Ben Ripley and those other writers who had their little tweaks on it. I think Ben's original script though was very strong.
How did the budgetary concerns with source code differ from your budget on Moon?
Yeah.
It was probably considerably different, and how did that change your approach to it?
It's funny. For me, it was a big step up in budget, but I think by Hollywood standards, it would still be considered an indie of sorts. But a lot of the same problems. Shooting schedule-wise, there was a very compressed time frame because of Jake's availability. So he had just finished shooting Prince of Persia, and he had the press to do for that movie. So there was this kind of window when we could shoot, and we weren't going to be able to extend beyond that. But I think the budget helped out, and we tried our best to really stretch the money that we did have. So I think the film feels substantial. It feels like a big film.
So here's an obvious one.
Yeah.
How many different versions of the ending were considered prior to putting it in the can?
There were a few, and there were a few which I felt were a little too saccharine for my taste, a little too sweet, and I'm very happy. I actually was the one who pushed for the ending we've got, and without giving anything away, the reason that I really insisted on it, and I really feel glad that I got my way on it, is there are questions that for people like me who get into the sort of geekery of how these things might work, there was a question I really needed answered, and I'm glad that we answered it with the ending we've given.
Has there been any talk at all of a sequel?
I think I would be delighted to have the chance to work with Jake again. He's a very talented, very lovely guy. Whether it's on a sequel or something else, I can't wait to find out.
Well, congratulations on source code, and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.